Ikari stands her ground in the clash with gritted teeth, and her sword gives off a vibrant glow at her command. A glow that continues to intensify until it engulfs the clashing pair in a blinding light. I'm forced to shield my eyes with my arm, as if I were staring at the sun itself. If it was bad enough for me at this distance, I can't imagine how bad it must have been for both of them. From the safety of my sleeve, I peer back out at the battle, the light fading slightly. It seems Yuzuki wasn't expecting that at all, as she's reeling back from it all, a hand in her face. Sayaka lets loose an arrow she'd been charging since the pair had clashed. It rockets off with unreal speed, leaving a trail of glimmering sparks in its wake, as it homes in on Yuzuki. Ikari pulls back at Sayaka's voice. Jeez, man, it's just all these names. I'm getting tied up on lost on their names here. Ikari pulls back at Sayaka's voice and ducks to just barely avoid the arrow coming her way. It's a direct hit. The arrow bursts upon impact and sends Yuzuki skidding backwards, and as she desperately tries to keep upright. It doesn't end there, though. Ikari hops to her feet and charges in for a follow-up attack, whilst Yuzuki is trying her best to recover from the arrow. Steel sings as Ikari kicks off the ground and goes for a crushing blow to the head. This should be it. I can't see how she'll escape from Ikari's blade now. The ground under my feet gives off a quake as she lands. A good half of the road splits under her blade, and chunks of concrete rain everywhere. It was a devastating attack, to be sure. Surely no one could have survived a blow like that, but Ikari is just as bewildered as I am. The dark girl is nowhere to be seen. A single black feather drifts down from where she once stood. She just vanished. A sinister giggle echoes from the shadows. Did Yuzuki teleport? Or is she just so fast I couldn't keep up? Ikari bolts up at the sound and shoots Sayaka a frenzied look. Something glimmers from out of the darkness behind her and then lashes out with a vicious swing. Sayaka just barely reacts in time, jumping to avoid a fatal slash. At least, I thought she had avoided it. What the fuck, dude? There's a sudden burst and Sayaka lets out a shriek. She herself looks unharmed, but good portions of her outfit is in tatters. Fragments of what used to be her outfit rains down from above, well and truly diced by the mad girl's scythe. I mean, it's horrible. There's hardly anything left of her outfit. From where I'm standing, I can practically see... Huh? I lost track of what I was thinking about there. Sorry. Ahem. Fight bad. Damage terrible. Okay, I'm back on track. This is insane. If she had reacted just a fraction of a second slower, her outfit wouldn't have been the only thing cut to ribbons by that attack. I thought Yuzuki seemed bad before, but if anything, tonight she seems even stronger. Or is it just all in my head? The pair learned from their mistakes the previous night and devised something almost resembling teamwork tonight to try to put an end to her, but she hits back twice as hard anyway. Sayaka and Ikari have given it their all, and this monster still has the upper hand. I wonder if they have any tricks left. I suppose I should put more faith in my guardian angels, even if things look dire right now. They're surely trained for these kind of intense battles, but must have at least something to fall back on. Something that I hope doesn't involve flying again. I really don't want it to... I really don't want to fly again. At this point, I'll take my chances with Yuzuki. Sayaka hugs herself in an effort to cover up her face flush with embarrassment. I can't imagine this being convenient, I can't imagine this being convenient at all during a fight, especially not one as serious as this. I feel like I shouldn't be watching this, but at this point, but this is an important fight I can't afford to take my eyes off of, or something like that. With what should be fairly troubling scene for her partner, Ikari actually seems more annoyed than anything as she rushes over. She stomps her foot and scolds her half-naked partner. That seems like a rather bizarre way to treat someone in such a state. Huh? She can? So why has she been acting like she has? What the hell? There's another flash and her outfit is restored to what it once was. Huh. It really was that easy. Ikari hoists her sword onto her shoulder and lets out a sigh. A dangerous vein just faintly visible in her forehead. Bonk. Ikari laps her on the head. What is even... Wait, was I supposed to read that? Yeah. Guys, aren't you forgetting something? I mean, it's not like you were in the middle of a fight or anything. Wait, that's a point. Yuzuki could have torn these two up while they were arguing. Where did she go after that attack? As if suddenly realizing this fact as well, both girls jump into serious mode, if that's even really possible, and assume offensive stance once more. I'm beginning to grow uneasy. I instinctively throw a glance over my shoulder, only to be met with a maniacal smile. You? She's right behind me. How did she manage that? Then again, I guess it probably wasn't that difficult to feat with how distracted my supposed guardians can get. I stumble backwards with a gasp, just narrowly avoiding her outstretched grasp as she reaches for me with a limp. The dark girl winces and her shoulders sink. Seems like she barely any strength left. I think that's a misphrasing. As she just barely keeps a hold of her scythe, limply at her side. Maybe the combined attack before was more effective than I thought, and it finally all caught up with her. Her energy reserves, well, are truly spent. This was probably her last-ditch attempt to get me. I'm lucky I turned around when I did. She gives me a narrowed glare as she staggers back a few steps. My bodyguards catching up to me. Amber eyes full of hatred, she shifts her gaze to Sayaka and Ikari.
また会いましょう。
She begins to sink back into the shadows, giving off another devious laugh, despite her limping retreat. The last part of what she said worries me. Something to play with?
どこにだってついてってあげるわ。ここで戦いを終わらせましょう。あ、光、どうせ間に合わぬ。
Hikari disregards her partner's advice and blazes forward, sword at the ready. It seems like her blade is just about to connect with Yuzuki before she can make her escape, but something suddenly whips out as if appearing out of nowhere and takes Hikari off her feet, hoisting her high into the air. A thick, slimy appendage. Oh, fuck. they're gonna throw in the freaking tentacle monsters now. Oh my god. A tentacle. Oh no. Ikari drops her sword after being blindsided by the beast and is left wrestling helplessly against the withering tendrils as they work to ensnare her. I see her hands give off a glow. That's right. If she doesn't have a weapon, she still has her magic. She should be able to make quick work of this thing, sword or not. Or maybe not. The beast is one step ahead of her and works to bind her hands, leaving her well and truly helpless. The tentacles creep in, ever closer, oozing a pungent substance that coats a good majority of her. Oh my god. Oh my god. What She bemoans her disgusting predicament as she thrashes around, ultimately only resulting in the tentacles constricting tighter against her. Okay. So she can't save herself, but her trusty partner should be able to pierce the tentacles with a well-placed arrow, right? Right. What? When did they show up? Sayaka is surrounded by a pack of those demonic dogs from before, the one that nearly took my life. They must have charged in at the same time as the tentacle creature made itself known. Were they summoned by Yuzuki? I wonder. Wait. Can she control them? Ikari keeps up a brave front, but I can see the tentacles are taking their toll on her. This is bad. Both of them are held up by monsters. While Sayaka is handy with a bow, I don't think she's all that good at close-up combat. So she might be in trouble here. And then, Ikari is clearly in need of some assistance. The tentacles might completely crush her if nothing is done soon. So with both of them struggling, who's left to help them? Me? But I've never fought anything in my life. I would have been dead long ago if these two hadn't made themselves known in my life. I clench my fists tight and throw a glance between the two girls. They've risked so much to help me before, while I've just stood on the sidelines like some sort of coward. They need my help. What can I do? I don't have any magical powers. I don't have super strength. I can't fly. I'm useless. Unless I stomp at the ground, cursing my weak nature. Huh? Something clatters at my foot. Ikari's sword. A sizable amount of steel that almost rivals Ikari herself in height. I crouch down to pick it up. Despite its size, it's surprisingly light. I'm able to take it up with just a single hand. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm even thinking about doing this. I straighten up and tighten my hold on the sword, giving it a test swipe in the air. It slices through without much resistance and gives me a satisfying swoosh. It'll be just this easy, right? Air is one thing, but to even think about using this thing on something living, even if they're monsters, I'm just not sure if I can follow through with this. I can hear cries of distress from both sides. Time is running out. I've made up my mind. I can't save them both at once, though. Who needs help more urgently? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Right. Sayaka has numerous, far more threatening foes than just a couple of slimy tentacles. These things might tear her apart if I wait too long. Sayaka, hang on! I kick off and head to Sayaka's side first, the sword held awkwardly at my side. I really don't know how to even hold this properly. I must look so stupid right now. She frantically bobs and weaves her way out of the incoming claws and fangs, unable to find a spare moment to get an arrow out. Spare moment to get an arrow out. I pick up the pace, nearing the beasts. There isn't a moment to lose. This is my time to shine. I can be the hero. Ugh. My haste to reach Sayaka in time, I put my foot in the wrong place and trap myself in a spectacular display of heroism. I pull into a tumble and barrel straight into one of the creature's sword outstretched. It lets out an ear-piercing howl as the blade comes into contact with it and leaps back, distracting all the others in the process. Well, not exactly what I had in mind, but it worked. Somewhat. After that little stunt, all their burning eyes are on me now. No problem. I hold out a shaky sword toward one of them as they begin to circle me rather than Sayaka. This is what I wanted, right? I mean, I saved Sayaka at least. The beasts all leap at once. An assault from 4 sides. Oh god. This is going to end badly. Even a seasoned swordsman would be at a disadvantage here. 4 arrows fly at once and nail each of the creatures in the head. Before they can reach me, each of them exploding into a cloud of black smoke. Sayaka grins as she lowers her bow. That's right. By taking one of the monsters, I was able to give Sayaka the room she needed to launch her arrows. All according to plan. You're telling me. I don't know if you guys can face these things on a daily basis. Oh wait. I don't know how you guys can face these things on a daily basis. Well, it's nothing really. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? She beams an innocent grin. I'm sure she definitely meant something by that, though. Her mouth opens wide as she looks over at Ikari's sword that I still... Her mouth opens wide as she looks over at Ikari's sword that I still hold in a trembling hand. Even now, I still can't stop shaking after confronting those things. Sayaka sighs and knocks an arrow in her bow, before letting it loose with a bored expression as if she wasn't even that concerned with Ikari. The lazy yet somehow precise arrow pierces through the tentacles at once, severing them cleanly. The monster, still hidden in the shadows, lets out some kind of shriek and drops Ikari to the ground before retreating. She lands with a slimy splash. Oh god, we're gonna get a picture, aren't we? Ugh. It can't be pleasant. No, we didn't get a picture. I thought they were gonna give us one. Ikari rises, takes in a deep breath, about to yell at her partner, but she stops when she notices her sword in my fairly incapable hands.
Kenta?
I grin nervously and scrub at the back of my head. Hope you don't mind me borrowing it. It was sort of an emergency.
それはいいんだけど、ただあなたがそれを持ってることに驚いちゃって。
If it makes you feel any better, I really didn't do much at all with it.
謙遜しなくていいって。ケンタはヒーローだよ。
Sayaka clasps her hands together and chirps playfully, batting her eyelashes at me with a dreamy expression. Even though she's clearly just messing around, I still can't help but let out an awkward laugh as my cheeks flare up.
光も見てたらよかったのに、彼が来たと思ったら4匹の化け物を一度にやっつけちゃったんだから。ケンはあなたより向いてるからね。
Okay, now she's really making it obvious that I did nothing. Ikari squelches over to me and snatches the sword back with a sour expression. Ugh. She got some of her slime on me.
バカなこと言わないで。何が起きたかは知らないけど、運が良かったのね。本当だもん。ケンタがパートナーを代わってくれたら最高のチームなのに。どうかな、ケンタ。魔法の衣装も作ってあげるし。
Ikari continues to simmer as Sayaka goes on. I can't even tell if she's being serious at this point. Pass.
わかったけど、でも魔法の衣装も似合うよきっと。
I wonder, would my magical outfit be as light on materials as theirs are? I feel cold just thinking about wearing one. I don't know how they manage. Ikari suddenly lights up and strikes a pose, blade at the ready.
あの女、彼女は？ゆずきのこと？彼女のお友達に構ってる間に遠くへ行っちゃったみたい。惜しかったのに。
She stomps her foot in frustration, the slime that no doubt oozed between her toes giving off a squelch.
まあ、いいんじゃない？両方とももう戦える状態じゃないし。
Sayaka sighs dramatically and throws her hands up in the air. She's right. I can't imagine how much worse things could have been if that girl had still been around.
ケンタ、あなたは大丈夫？
Me? Let's see. I'm drenched in sweat. My heart is still thumping like crazy from the adrenaline rush. I think I might throw up. My head feels like it might split open at any moment. I'm okay, actually. Oddly enough, I really do feel fine. Better than fine, in fact. I'm happy I could finally do something, even if it wasn't much. So I'm not as much a burden as for these two.
もう大丈夫かもね。
Ikari peers into the darkness, still holding her sword firmly. She seems reluctant about giving up the fight so soon.
さあ、光、終わったよ。私たちの大勝利。
Sayaka slaps a hand down on Ikari's tense shoulder, and she loosens up. Just a little.
彼女がそんな簡単に諦めるとは思えないわ。そんなわけがない。彼女を見てなかったの？だいぶやられてたよ。見かけよりずっとダメージがあったはずだし、しばらくは襲ってこないって。まあね。
Ikari finally gives her sword. Gives up. Her sword fading with a dim light. She reluctantly joins the pair of us, and we begin to journey home once more. And with that, the chaotic night finally comes to an end. I get to live yet another day. After tonight, I'm more grateful than ever for the existence of my guardian angels, however bizarre they might be at times. We part ways once we reach my house, though I know they'll be just a shout away if I need them, since they'll no doubt be camped in my garden again. I don't understand how they don't get caught. I shut the door behind me. I'm greeted with the familiar aroma of home cooking. Safe at last, I think. At least the monsters haven't attacked me here anyway. They seem to only want to get me when I'm isolated from mostly everyone else. Let's hope things stay that way. No one else has been dragged into this mess. Heck, I still don't even know why I'm in this situation to begin with. I join my parents at the table, the plate's only just being set up. I get the same questioning looks as before. Maybe more so today because of how taxing that encounter had been on my body. I'm lucky enough to have not suffered any real damage, or at least anything noticeable at first glance, so they don't chase up any further on the matter. The usual conversations unfold, and once more it becomes my turn to talk about my day. I can only let out an awkward laugh and say it was the same as any other day. I wonder how they'd react if I told them there were two complete strangers potentially camping in our backyard. The peaceful, relaxing dinner comes to an end. Much like last night, I make myself scarce and drag myself up to my room, wanting nothing more than to collapse onto my bed for a good several days. Thankfully, it's the weekend tomorrow at least, so there's no worry about having to get up early. But I get the feeling with those two girls around, I'm not going to be able to get much of a lie in. Speaking of the girls, do I even want to check? I heave a reluctant sigh and peek through the curtains. Yep. Tent, campfire, an overcooked meal catching alight as the pair scramble to put it out. That's about what I expected. I shut the curtains and ignore the fact that the entire garden is danger from catching fire. I'm far too exhausted to worry about that. I'm sure it'll be fine. Most likely. Crawling into bed, the distressed cries of two supposedly professionals are the last thing I hear before I drift into the world of dreams.